and welcome to another edition of Toys from the Attic, where it's still aliens month. The conflict between the aliens and predators are kind of getting explosive. That's why I brought out this little umbrella shield. For today's episode, we'll be taking a look at the scorpion alien, also known as the exploding alien. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at this guy. Okay, so here we have a look at the scorpion alien. Interesting little story with this guy. I didn't grow up playing with him too much. As a matter of fact, my cousin did own one of the original Scorpion aliens, which actually had more of a copper-ish gold paint scheme, along with the black, kind of similar to the Gorilla alien where it was just airbrushed on. However, the Scorpion alien was the one alien he decided to keep for himself rather than hand it down to me. So this particular Scorpion alien is one that I recently bought from a toy convention, considering I've never really had one and I wanted to complete my collection. And it's one of the ones that actually came with the 2-packs in the Space Marines. That's why it has more of the silver and black paint scheme. He was also always the figure that my cousin liked playing with the most. So I never really got a chance to get a feel or come up with any personality for this particular figure. As I said with the Warrior Alien review, this particular design takes its inspiration from the second Aliens movie. If you remember looking at that movie, and go back and feel free to look at it right now, the aliens in that had more of a, you could see a lot more detail in the ridges in the head and on the back right here. If memory serves me from Wikipedia, the idea was that these ones were alive a little bit longer and had more time to develop and take on more subtle traits like this. Right, so here's a look at the Scorpion alien. The reason he's called the Scorpion alien is because he has this tiny scorpion-like tip on his tail, which if any of you have actually ever seen a scorpion's tail, it actually has a little sac before you get to the tip that holds all the venom. So I was never really, I never really understood why he was called the Scorpion alien. Also, I wondered, what did the facehugger go on a scorpion, and that's what the alien came out of? Shouldn't he look more bug-like? Well, I know it's hard to say more bug-like with these guys. It could, and I thought, could a facehugger even fit on a scorpion? But like I said before, I didn't actually watch the movies when I was a lot younger. When these figures came out, I saw the movies a lot when I was a lot older, so I didn't know the full story or the capabilities of what these guys could do. It was more secondhand from what my older cousin would tell me. Now the Scorpion alien, it has this tiny little tail on here, which was why I guess they called it Scorpion alien, and it's the Warrior alien that had the much bigger tail. So I'm going to pull him out, and you can kind of see the differences in the tail, and you can kind of see the differences in the actual design of them. They look very similar, but they also look very different. Alright, back to him. This guy's detailing on his head, I would say, is really nice. Get all these nice little ridges in here, and the chest as well. It's a little bit thicker than the Warrior alien in both width and depth, but we'll get into that in just a second. Just as always, they have the nice, all these nice little details in the legs. You can see tubes that probably hold fluid running around. You get the nice little soft parts that probably stick out from the exoskeleton, and you can even see through right here. Most creatures don't really have holes in the middle of their legs or arms, so it gave these guys really that extraterrestrial look that made you wonder, like, well, how can these things exist? A nice little detail also on here is his little tube spikes, or his little tubes on his back actually end in spikes. The Warrior alien, they just end flat, I guess, giving ventilation, but I really like the fact that they have these spikes on here. Now, I will say that this particular one, that since it came in the 2-pack, his tail is actually a lot more flexible than the original one that had the gold paint. And the reason I remember that is over time my cousin's tail tip broke off, and I remember the tail being very made of a much more rigid plastic. So I guess they probably saw that as a defect and probably improved these guys when these guys came out. Now his gimmick is actually pretty neat. He has this little button on the back here, and the idea was that when the Space Marines would shoot him, you could actually have this guy, let me see if I can get the explode into all these different parts. So I actually don't usually like certain gimmicks on action figures, but this one is actually pretty neat because it doesn't actually hinder the playability of the toy, and it actually does do a feature like you would have actually in the movies. The only problem I would say is that because the parts come off, these parts are actually pretty big, but
in something like this, you have a tendency where you might actually lose the parts. Now they actually also went the extra mile, and you can kind of see the insides of the Predator right here, or I mean, of the alien right here, and you can see that there's a lot of detail on the inner organs of this particular guy, the part that actually holds and springs everything together. It's a little hard to pick up on the red right here, especially because it's getting into small details, but there is some nice carving back here. And on the back, you can kind of see the starts of these little tubes right here, which, if you know where this thing goes, this is the back, you would think that, oh, these actually go into the vents. So that's actually a nice, another little feature. Also, you can kind of just, like I said, this guy was from a thrift store, or from a toy convention, secondhand, so it's a little worn out. So you could actually just display him where he's just the head, and his arms and other stuff have been blown off. Let me see if I can get this back here. Put him back together before we go. There we go. So this has been a look at the Scorpion Alien.
Once again, thank you for watching. If you like what you've seen today, please feel free to leave a comment below. Any advice for the show will be greatly appreciated. Who knows, something you suggest may appear on the show in the future.